It is the hottest week of the whole summer, and the manure pile behind my barn is not 30 steps from my kitchen door. And that door has stood wide open since before the sun came up this morning. Out on the table, my wife Esther has 2 fresh peach pies cooling by the window and a crock of milk with the cloth pulled back off the top of it. And there is not one fly on any of it. Not on the pie, not on the milk, not walking the rim of a single plate on the shelf. Now you step into most any kitchen in the middle of July with the door left standing open like that, and animals kept as close as ours are, and the food on the table would be black and crawling with them inside the hour. The English hang those brown sticky curls of paper down from the ceiling, and they mist a can of poison right over the supper table, and still they sit and eat with the one hand and swat with the other all summer long. We do neither, and we have not done either for as long as anyone in my family can remember. The whole of it comes down to one plain fact about where a fly actually comes from. And once you have that fact in your head, you will never again look at your own kitchen the same way. You know the misery of it well enough without my telling you. The fly that lands on the baby's lip while she sleeps in the warm of the afternoon. The one that walks across the soft butter and the cut bread, rubbing its legs together, when you have no notion in the world of where it has just been walking before that. The swatter that lives out on the counter the whole summer through. The sticky strip turning brown and heavy over the sink. The can of spray you shake up and mist out over the very food you're about to set in front of your own family. And for the whole of it, they keep on coming, day after day, right up until the frost finally kills them off. I am not going to hand you one more poison to breathe or one more gadget to hang up on a nail. What I am going to give you is how a whole family keeps a kitchen near clear of flies straight through the hottest summer, with the door standing wide to the air, and never once reaches for a can of anything. It costs you almost nothing but a little steady attention, and it is safe to do in a room where the little ones still eat their dropped crusts right off the floor. And it begins, all of it, not with killing the fly on the table in front of you, but with the wet and rotting place it was born in a week ago. My name is Gideon Riehl, and I have kept a farm kitchen going on this same ground in Lancaster County the whole of my life, with the barn and the animals and the manure pile right there close by, the way it has always been for our people. If flies were nothing but a matter of living near to beasts, then no house on all the earth would have them worse than mine ought to. And yet you can sit at my table on the very worst day of August and eat your dinner in peace. There is no bug man who comes round in a white truck, and there is no can of anything kept under our sink. Stay with me here, because 2 or 3 things in this matter, more than all the rest put together. There is one thing that near every English family does each and every day, without a single thought to it, that hatches the very flies they will spend that same evening swatting at. There is one green thing growing in a pot on my windowsill that will turn a fly back at the door. And there is that famous old trick with the bag of water hung up in the doorway that half this country swears up and down by. I will tell you the honest truth of that one before we are through here, and I expect it will surprise a good many of you. Here is how the plain old way of keeping flies down slipped away from folks, and I will tell you now, there is no villain anywhere in the telling of it. It simply got easy. There was a day not so far back when a woman kept the flies down by keeping a spotless kitchen and a covered pail and nothing else, because she had no other choice in the matter. There was no can on a shelf for her to reach for. Then along came the spray and the sticky strip and the screen bought cheap by the roll, and once those things did all the worrying for people, the old careful habits simply quit being taught to the young. Nobody troubled to show the young wife anymore just why the scrap pail wants a tight lid, and why it gets carried out before the week is up, or why the fruit is not left to sit and soften on the sill in the sun. The knowing of it went quiet, a little more of it lost with each passing year, until folks came round to believing that a house full of flies in the summer is simply the way of things, a plague you cannot do a thing about. It is not, and it never was. And there has never been $1 in it for any man to teach you to simply keep a thing clean. So here is the one plain fact that changes the whole of it, and it is this. A fly does not blow in to trouble you from somewhere far off across the fields. It is born close by, in something wet and rotting, and it is born fast. In the heat of the summer, a housefly goes the whole way from a laid egg to a grown fly up on the wing in about a week to 10 days, no more, and one single female of them will lay somewhere between 300 and 900 eggs across her short little life. And she lays them wherever it is moist and foul, down in fresh manure, not even a day old, in the bottom of your scrap pail, in a bowl of fruit gone soft and brown, in the dog's mess left out in the yard, in the sour wet at the bottom of a trash can. The university people who spend their lives studying this, the pest folks at places like the University of New Hampshire and the University of California, all come round to saying the very same plain thing. The way you beat a fly is to take away the place where it is born, long before you ever chase the one walking on your table. Do that one thing, and there is simply no fly left alive to land on your pie. Everything else I am about to tell you only serves this one idea. So let me give it all back to you in good order, and we start right where the most of them are born, which is your own kitchen pail and your trash. That pail of peelings and scraps sitting under the sink is a fly nursery if ever you let it stand. It is warm, it is wet, and it is left open to the air. So in this house, it gets a tight-fitting lid kept down on it, and it gets carried out to the far bin before it ever stands the better part of a week. And I mean that plain, because a week is the whole of the time a fly needs to hatch a fresh crop of her young right out of it. The outside can wants a good lid that truly seals down, and it wants to sit just as far from your kitchen door as ever you can put it, and not right there beside the step, where every last fly it breeds will only walk itself straight back into your house. And rinse the thing out now and again with a little water, for it is the sour film dried in the bottom of it that draws them in the first place. This one habit alone, a lid on the pail, and the trash carried out on time, will cut down your flies more than any can of spray you could ever buy, for it takes the very cradle out from under them before they are so much as born. Next comes the animals, for those of you who keep any at all, a few hens, a dog, a horse, a handful of stock in the barn. A fly must have moist filth to lay her eggs down in, and there is no richer cradle for her anywhere than a pile of fresh manure. So we never once let it heap up wet and close to the house. It gets cleaned out regular every week or two without fail, and it gets spread out thin on the open field where the sun and the wind dry it right out, for a fly cannot raise her young in dry ground at all. She has got to have it moist. Keep that pile hauled well off from the door, keep it turned, keep it drying, and you have shut down the single biggest fly factory on the whole of the place. And do not forget the dog's mess out in the yard, for it is a cradle just the same. Walk it up of a morning, and that is one less nursery sitting there in your grass. My own father kept the manure moved and the dooryard picked clean his whole life long, and I never once thought to ask him the why of it until I was a grown man. It was simply how a decent clean place was kept. Now to the kitchen its own self, and this is just exactly where the English go and undo the whole of their own good work. A fly does not need much of anything to keep her happy. A smear of jam left on the counter, the sticky ring dried under the icebox where something spilled a week ago, a stack of dirty dishes left standing in the basin overnight, the dog's dish crusted over by the door, a bowl of fruit left to soften and go brown on the windowsill. Every last one of those is a table set and laid for flies, and worse than that, it is a place for them to lay their eggs and make more. So we wipe the counters down every night. We do not let the dishes stand until the morning. We keep the food covered over with a clean cloth or a plate turned upside down. We scrub out the dog's dish and the milk pail, and we never let the fruit sit and rot where it draws them from clear across the room. Give a fly nothing at all to eat, and nowhere wet to lay, and she has got no reason on earth to be in your kitchen and no way to make more of herself once she is there. It is the plainest work there is, and it costs you nothing in this world but the doing of it faithful each evening. The fourth thing is the screen, and here I am going to be honest with you rather than sell you some perfect and tidy answer. A good screen on every window and a tight screen door with a spring that pulls it shut, kept mended so there is not one torn corner in any of them, will hold the great most of the flies out of your house. But a fly is a patient thing, and she will find the one small hole you left, so you walk your screens over every spring, and you patch every gap and tear you find. And in the worst heat of the middle of the day, when the flies are out the thickest, that is the very time to let that door stay shut, rather than propped open wide. Now, I will not stand here and pretend to you that we never let a single one slip inside, with the children forever running in and out to the garden and the well all day long. A few will always get past, and that is simply so. The screen is a good strong help to you, but it is not a wall, and it will never do the whole of the job standing alone. It only holds the line for you while the real work, the taking away of the place where they breed, goes and does the true winning of it. The fifth thing is the old herbs, and this here is the very smallest part of the whole business, so I will not go overselling it to you the way the internet surely will. There are green-growing things whose smell a fly does not care one bit for and will turn herself away from. A pot of sweet basil and another of mint set right up on the windowsill, and by the open door, a bundle of either one of them hung up to dry in the corner of the kitchen. A few dry bay leaves tucked down into the flour bin and along the cupboard shelf. And the old one my own grandmother swore by all her days, a ripe lemon stuck full all over with whole cloves and set out in a dish on the table. The oils held in them put a fly off her course, and they make the whole kitchen smell clean and green in the bargain. But hear me plain on this. It only nudges a fly. It does not stop her. Any man who sells you a little bottle that swears it will keep every fly off for good, and all is only selling you smoke and air. The herbs are the trim on the work, you understand. They are never the work itself. The sixth thing is the one honest little trap that is worth the setting, and it is meant only for the tiny fruit flies, those little ones that rise up in a cloud off the fruit bowl and the cider crock, and which are a wholly different creature from the big house fly we have been speaking of. For those little ones, you set out a small jar with just a finger of apple cider vinegar down in the bottom of it, and one single drop of dish soap stirred through it. The sour smell of the vinegar draws them right down to it, and that one drop of soap breaks the skin of the water so that they cannot stand up on top of it the way they would want to, and down under they go. It costs you a penny to set, and it will clear the fruit flies right out in a day or two. But you mark the difference well. The big house fly you do not ever beat in a jar sitting on your counter. You beat her out at the pail and the manure pile before she is so much as born. The little jar of vinegar is only ever for the small ones down at the fruit. And now the very thing that half this whole country swears up and down by, the one I gave you my word I would tell you true about. The clear plastic bag of water, sometimes with a bright new penny dropped down inside of it, hung up over the door to keep the flies from coming in. I have not one doubt in my mind that your own neighbor swears to you it works a wonder. But I am going to give you the plain flat truth of it, because honesty is the whole of what sets our way apart from the rest. It does nothing at all. When they put the thing to a real and proper test, there was a study done out of North Carolina State, and the television men who go and test such things came along after. The bags of water drew in a few more flies if they did anything whatsoever, and surely not fewer. It is a pretty story, and an old one handed down, but it is only a story and nothing more. Save your bag and save your penny both. There is no charm on this earth that you can hang up over a doorway that will do the work for you. The flies are beaten down in the pail and out at the pile, with a rag and a lid and a little faithful daily attention, and truly nowhere else at all. For the folks among you who would like to have the whole of it written down plain and in its proper order, I have gone and set it all out. The evening kitchen round that keeps a fly from ever laying an egg, just which herbs to keep and exactly how to set them about, the little vinegar jar measured out to the drop, and how often that scrap pail and that manure pile have got to be moved to stay a step ahead of the week-long hatch. It is all in the Natural Home Guide, and the link to it sits right down below this video for you. It is there if you would care to have the long version in your own hand to work along from through the summer months. And that is the one and only time I will bring it up to you. Now, let us get on back to the kitchen, for there is one more thing here that is well worth your while. Step back with me here a moment and think hard on what this really and truly buys you in the end. A kitchen in the deep dead heat of the summer with the door thrown wide open to the breeze, 2 peach pies cooling uncovered on the table, and not one fly walking on them, nor a single brown strip of poison hanging anywhere in sight. The English will stand shut up inside a closed house with the cans and the sticky curls and the buzzing electric zapper up on the wall, and mist a nerve poison out over the very plates their own children eat their supper from. And then they call that a clean kitchen. Ours is a clean kitchen because we keep it clean, and not because we have gone and drowned the whole of it in chemicals. That is the whole of the plain way, in the kitchen just the same as it is everywhere else we live. Take away the true cause of a thing, and then you have no need of anything at all to cover it over. No poison anywhere near the food, no sticky mess strung up overhead, no smell in the room but the basil in the window and the bread in the oven. That right there is worth a very great deal more than the few small minutes of wiping and covering that it asks of you each day. So here is just what I would have you go and do this coming week, and I have kept it good and short so any soul can hold it in their head. Put a tight lid down on your kitchen scrap pail and carry it on out to the far can before ever it sits the better part of a week. If you keep any animals at all, move that manure off regular and spread it thin to dry, and pick the dog's mess up out of the yard of a morning. Of an evening, wipe down your counters, wash up the dishes and the dog's dish both, cover over the food, and do not for anything let the fruit sit and rot there in the bowl. Walk along your screens and mend up every hole and tear you find in them. Set a pot of basil and one of mint up on the windowsill by the door. And for the little fruit flies, keep a small jar of cider vinegar with the 1 drop of soap in it down by the fruit bowl. Do those few things faithful, and your kitchen will stay near clear of flies the whole summer through with never a can opened once. And that bag of water hung over the door. You leave that one in the drawer where it belongs. Now I would truly like to hear back from you on this. Tell me down in the comments there where it is you live and how thick the flies run in your own part of the country come the middle of July. For in some places they are a real torment, and in others hardly a bother at all. And tell me honest now, were you ever one who hung that bag of water up over the door? There is no shame in it whatever. Near about everyone has tried the thing once. I read every last comment that comes to me, every single one. And before you go on your way, the fly is beaten down in the pail and the pile. That is so. But the ants that come marching in a long line across the counter after the sugar are a whole other matter, and we have kept them clean out of the kitchen for generations now, without a drop of poison anywhere near the food. Next time, I will show you the plain old way that we turn the ants back at the door, and it is a good deal simpler than ever you would think. Until then, you get a tight lid on that pail tonight, and you leave the water bag in the drawer. A clean kitchen was never once a thing that you bought in a store. It is a thing that you keep.